Changsha, Hunan Province, is a popular city in central China. 50 years ago, the excavation of the Mawangdui Han tomb made this city the focus of the world's archaeological community. Along with countless curious gazes came various incredible amazement as well as puzzling follow-up questions. It seems that Chinese archaeologists have accidentally discovered a secret that dates back 2,000 years. Since then, Hunan Museum has become the guardian of this secret. The Mawangdui Han tomb is considered one of the greatest discoveries in the world's archaeological history in the 20th century. It has activated the ancient memory of Changsha and also has led to the creation of this unique museum. Today, Hunan Museum protects not only thousands of cultural relics, but the bygone era as well. People come here for a special encounter. What awaits them is a lost family and an ancient empire behind it. It's like a time tunnel connecting the lively words of today and a corner of history 2,000 years ago. They're alive in death, daily life, and in the narrative of a great nation. It remembers the rise of a dynasty and it gathers splendid thoughts in the civilization of early China. The past and the present, history and the reality, they meet and form a wonderful integration here. Standing on this side of the river of time, it seems that you can feel the flow of wind and the breath of time 2,000 years ago. It's like listening to an unfolding story. Sometimes we can't tell who the narrator is. Perhaps it doesn't matter. What really matters is that through the blurred light and shadow, we see a perfectly preserved historical manuscript. That is also a precious gift of time.
岁月不朽，山海相逢。在应用商店搜索并下载数字文博 APP 山海和文物多见一面。
This is about one of the places with the highest densities of tourists in Changsha.
欢迎来到湖南博物院，请大家有序配合安检。
Hunan Museum opens at 9 a.m. every day. As a museum that requires advance reservations and has a daily limit of 15,000 visitors, it is always teeming with visitors.
欢迎来到湖南博物院，请大家有序配合安检。
They come for a city and also for a tomb of 2,000 years ago.
参观马王堆的游客请上3楼，参观马王堆的游客坐电梯上3楼。
Mawangdui, once a name known only to few Changsha residents, is now tied to an unprecedented archaeological discovery.
所在的呢，就是长沙马王堆汉墓陈列的序厅。接下来呢，我们将通过这个展览，一起来感受2000年前生活画卷。马王堆汉墓呢，它的原址呢，距离我们现在的湖南博物院呢，大概是有6公里这样子的一个距离。清代嘉庆年间的长沙县址里边，这里边埋葬的是楚王马英及其他家族的一个墓葬群，随即呢就有了马王堆一词。
Mawangdui originally referred to two small mounds on the bank of the Liuyang River in Changsha. In 1952, Xia Nai, an archaeologist, came here. After some surveying and drilling, he concluded that it was not a tomb for the 5 dynasties, but tombs of the Han dynasty. Then the place got the name, Mawangdui Han Tomb, but who was buried inside has always been a mystery. In Changsha at that time, people started from scratch and were busy with construction and development. For a long time, Mawangdui remained on a little corner, far less familiar than Orange Island Xiangjiang Bridge and Dongfang Road to the people. Until one day, it suddenly came into public view because of stunning archaeological discovery.
诗朗诵：开发马王堆，作者何复兴。
三乡大地景色美，三皇天真出年客，客得紫金长沙市，拐弯来到马王堆，马王堆上一回。
The local garrison accidentally opened a corner of this dusty 1,000-year-old tomb during the construction of a narrow shelter. Then, a rescue excavation was launched. In early 1972, archaeologists were the first to open among the layer of what was then named Tomb 1. Most of those who participated in the excavation have passed away, but their voice have left the memory of the era.
大了，从顶上到地下是20米零50公分，天天挖，不停地挖。
However, during the excavation, an ominous discovery made everyone nervous.
从我开始就发现了3个盗洞。
Two of them were square and looked relatively new.
那是个近代盗洞，里边一个小鞋底。拿到这个背后公司去看了，它是48年上海出的。
Fortunately, both rubble holes were very shallow, but the other circular ancient rubble hole was more worrisome.
这么大个盗洞，从那洞面就上一直挖下来呀，挖的20米啊！
While everyone was giving up hope, it finally disappeared.
如果他要再多挖几十公分，这个墓就完了。
More than 10 meters underground, excavators saw a layer of white plaster used to seal the chamber, which was 1.3 meters thick.
黏黏糊糊的，把它铲掉碰到木炭，5000公斤木炭了。出这个大锅巴，整整齐齐的。
就看到木椁的时候啊，让鸡惊呆了，所以呢，特别的安静啊。
It is really hard to imagine the shock and surprise that archaeologists felt when they first saw it. It's like a ship that sank in the deep sea of time and was salvaged ashore.
没遇到过这么大的。
你们不会永远有人啊？
Now we call it the outer and inner coffins together as a coffin. But in fact, they are not the same. A coffin is the container for the deceased, and another coffin is located outside the coffin and is used to place the coffin and burial objects. It's usually made in the cemetery and is part of the tomb chamber. In ancient China, people regarded death as important as life. So a huge outer coffin is like an underground palace, carefully designed for the dead.
啊，这里展出的是木椁，它的结构非常的复杂，全椁所用的木板70块均为整块的木料，而且是用粗大的砂木制成。啊，最大的一块椁板它长4.84米， 宽1.52米，厚0.26米，重达1.5吨。
It is estimated that the diameter of the tree used to make such a board should be more than 2 meters. Some experts even counted the annual rings on the wooden boards and found that the log has grown for at least 500 to 600 years. The joints of the 4 corners are all made of mortise and a tenon structure, which is extremely strong and tight. Due to its immense size, the height from the bottom of the wooden block to the top of the outer coffin cover is 2.8 meters, almost equivalent to the height of a floor of a house. In addition to the complex mortise and the tenon joints, the excavators who had no experience in opening such coffins did not dare to act rashly. They decided to ask authorities in Beijing for help. As experts across the country gathered here to help, the large and heavy cover was opened. There were 3 layers of cover plates. When the bottom layer of the cover was removed, another coffin chamber came into view. In the middle was a shiny black wooden coffin, surrounded by side chambers filled with grave goods, forming a shape looked like a whale. This reminded archaeologists of the whale-shaped outer coffin recorded in pre-Qing literature. People had only heard of it, but had never seen it. This was the first time people had seen the true appearance of the ancient whale-shaped outer coffin.
最下面的那个是什么？颈骨。颈骨的话，我们这样看下去就是什么？中空如茧。你看见没有？
我们可以看到这里头有4个边箱，那么这个北边箱呢？它的空间是其他边箱的2倍大，它摆放的就是墓主人自己在生前生活的时候，他要所用到的东西。
Outer coffin was given special meaning in ancient times. Its 4-side chambers was just like 4 rooms, a simulation of the tomb owner's daily life. The north chamber was the largest. It's the main room. The floor was covered with bamboo mats, the wall was hung with curtains, and in the middle were tables and various utensils for banquets. There were also wooden figurines performing songs and dances. The east chamber was where the servants lived and moved around, and there were a lot of lacquerware, pottery and silk, as well as dozens of painted wooden figurines symbolizing the housekeepers and the servants. The south chamber was similar to the east one, and you can see bells, vessels, cauldrons, steamers, pots, and other utensils inside. The west chamber was like a warehouse filled with food, clothing, ancestor money, mother grave goods, food and other sundries, 16 meters on the ground. These grave goods were buried common in the tomb owner in his sleep quietly for more than 2,000 years.
老师，他那个坑真的有这么大吗？
啊，对，1比1复原的。这个就是分土层呐，我们待的这个地方，那就是分土层。然后这个有阶梯的，就是什么呢？就是夯土层。
我们脚踩的地面一直到这个最底下，16米深，上面堆的那个大土堆有4.5米。
墓就是放在最中间，然后它出土的文物就是在什么呢？就是在这旁边的。好，我们往前。
The environment that was deep underground, sealed, oxygen deficient, and has constant temperature and humidity created an excellent preservation environment for these items. It looked like perfect time capsule. The time in the tomb seemed to be paused, seeing thousands of grave goods that looked as good as brand new. Those who participated in the excavation were filled with endless amazement and admiration.
4个国箱，全是东西，尤其那个漆器啊，闪闪发光。大吃一惊，大家说：“哎呀，从来没有看过这么完整的东西。”
These lacquers look like they have just been made, with the details of the characters and patterns on them clearly visible. This dazzling array of grave goods reflects the outstanding craftsmanship and unique aesthetics of the tomb owner's era. It's also like a material archive of daily life, allowing us to get a glimpse of the style of an era. The most incredible thing is that some of the utensils still contained food, and the food had been preserved for 2,000 years.
的，里面有一个汤叫鲫鱼藕片汤。我们为什么知道它呢？因为那藕片还浮在汤面上，历历可见。
但是由于当时移动文物时会产生晃动，再加上它其实本来就只剩下了一些纤维结构了，这个藕片呢它就立马消失了。
There was also a can of Burberry. When the staff first opened it, they could still see the green food stamps, but they quickly turned black due to the air oxidation. The large number of exquisite grave goods and numerous wooden figurines of servants suggest that this is by no means an ordinary tomb. Who is the tomb owner? People can't help but cast their eyes on the wooden coffin in the center of the chamber.
下载数字文博 APP 山海，用3D 方式打开马王堆汉墓和文物多见一面。
In April 1972, after 3 months of excavation, Mawangdui Tomb 1 reached its most exciting moment. Archaeologists peeled off the boards stuck around the coffin, and a complete coffin of 2.95 meters long, 1.5 meters wide, and 1.44 meters high appeared in front of everyone. This is a plain coffin without any decorations on the sides. It is made of catalpa wood and is painted brown and black. The moment the coffin lid was opened, everyone held their breath. They even had a preset thing in their minds. However, after opening it, they didn't find the owner, but another wooden coffin. Black base with colorful painting. The elegant and unrestrained clouds are like a stroke of only one brush. The pattern is mainly composed of complex and changeable floating clouds patterns, interspersed with various vividly presented gods, monsters, and beasts in different shapes. They seem to be randomly embellished, but they also seem to be endowed with special images and order. Among them, the most common one on painting is a monster with a face that looks like a sheep but not a sheep, a face that looks like a tiger but not a tiger, a long horn on its head, and a tail on his body. This reminds people of some records in the preaching work, Classic of Mountains and Rivers. There are hundreds of such animal, god, and monster patterns. Some scholars divide them into 2 categories. One is the image of protectors, which mainly includes some pictures of drawing a bow and arrow, catching birds and swallowing snakes, or wielding spears and fighting bulls. The other category is auspicious images, such as sheep, cranes, deer, nine-tailed foxes, various dancers and musicians playing instruments. Now, it's still hard for archaeologists to explain clearly what they represent. They generally call those who stand on their feet strange gods, and those who behave like beasts, monsters. As for some figures with long hair and beards, they call them immortals. So, in the report on unearthed cultural relics, we saw descriptions of a strange god swallowing a snake, a strange god shooting a bird, a monster tying up a crane, a monster standing on its own, an immortal taming a leopard, an immortal riding an animal, an immortal playing music, etc. Floating clouds, immortals, gods, monsters, beasts, etc. created a special space. This coffin should contain the tomb owner. Unexpectedly, the third coffin appeared inside the coffin with painted designs on black lacquer coating. It's painted with red lacquer as base with colorful painting. In the middle of the left side is a red mountain, and the images of rose finches, dragons, tigers, and deer can be seen in the surrounding patterns. The third side is a picture of two dragons passing through a jade disc. The right side merely shows a complex connected cloud pattern. The head side is painted with a mountain in the shape of an isosceles triangle, with a deer on each side of the mountain. There is no bottom pattern on the lid, and in the main body is a symmetrical image of two dragons and two tigers fight against each other. Tigers, dragons, deer, and rose finches are all auspicious animals in ancient China known as the four gods or four spirits. As for the high mountain depicted on the painting, it may be the mountain Kunlun, mythology and legend. According to previous archaeological excavations, it is a surprise to see 2 layers of coffins in an ancient tomb, and this is already the 3rd layer, but it's not over yet. After opening the coffin with painted designs on red lacquered coating, the 4th coffin appeared. On the coffin lid was a T-shaped colorful painting on silk with patterns of the sun, the moon, rising dragons, and a snake-like deity. In the center of the painting was an old man standing with a cane. The silk painting was made of plain silk with velvet embroidery on the edges. Silk straps with black feathers were pasted into diamond shapes, and the golden feathers were pasted on the black spaces. This is a feathered coffin that exists only in legends before, also known as the inner coffin with brocade decoration. It is the first time it has been discovered in Chinese archaeological excavations. According to ancient rituals, the more layers of the coffin there are, the more noble the deceased is. The 4 layers of coffins in Mawangdui Tomb 1 indicate that this is a high-standard tomb. Driven by amazement again and again, the excavators finally arrived at a moment when the answer was revealed. At that moment, could the person lie inside be some prominent vassal lord?
小时打不开，原因是什么？它里头是真空的，它氧气耗尽以后，就是再加上它密封了，打开以后，当时的人们都惊呆了。那我们最惊奇的是用那些绸缎包着的，包得厚厚的。
As the innermost coffin was opened, the tomb owner emerged before people's eyes. He was wrapped in layers with 2 silk cotton ropes of different colors and patterns on outside, and 20 layers of various clothes, quilts, silk, and linen fabrics extra tied to his body with ribbons. It took archaeologists a whole week only to unpack them. What wrapped the body was not clothes, but history. Under this long history, a discovery that shocked everyone almost made time stand still. A woman from over 2,000 years ago, with the splendor and vividness of the early Han Dynasty, saw the light of day. That's when young China was growing vigorously and creating greatness. This is a story about a tomb and a time as well. In the past, the only listener was the silent earth. But now, its monumental legend has been heard around the world.